In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. Some neighbors in Kyle are calling for road safety improvements after two Hayes CISD students were hit by a car near a school Thursday morning. Happened on Dacey Lane near Chappa Middle School as a teenager was walking his sister to Science Hall Elementary School. Parents are pushing for stronger safety measures along Dacey Lane, saying the area has long struggled with poor lighting and speeding. Here's Brianna Perez.
It's always been a fear just because of how often the speeding goes on, and as soon as I read about it, my heart broke.
Definitely not enough lighting, not for the kids at least.
Parents say Dacey Lane can be a dangerous one due to speeding drivers and a lack of lighting.
It's a wide area that they have to already cross, and the schools have implemented what they can to be able to accommodate for the darkness, like cones with lights, but sadly it isn't enough. It isn't sufficient, especially around this time of day.
According to Hayes CISD officials, the crash happened at around 6:30 a.m. at a crosswalk in front of Chappa Middle School when a 10th grader from Liam High School was walking his 4th grade sister to Science Hall Elementary. Kyle police say a crossing guard was on duty at the time with a stop sign displayed.
Reflective clothing, they carry flashlights. I think the stop sign is lighted as well. And they have whistles and they're well trained.
School officials say once Kyle police finish their investigation, they'll have more conversations about improving safety in the area.
And once they get done with that investigation, we're going to know, all right, specifically how did this happen and is there something we can do to fix that problem?
In a statement, a spokesperson for the city's Transportation and Public Works Department says it's evaluating the intersection to see if they need to add lights or other measures, something parents hope can happen sooner rather than later.
And I'm saddened to see that people are kind of blinded that there's a school right there. Slow down, there's children there.
And that was Brianna Perez reporting. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is directing the Texas Rangers to investigate the city of Elgin. He says there are serious accusations of financial mismanagement, including inconsistent accounting practices and unreconciled bank accounts. The governor says the Rangers will look into the city's budgeting and financial practices for violations of state law. In a statement, a spokesperson for the city of Elgin said it will cooperate with the state investigation. They said recent audits of fiscal years 2022 and 2023 found no evidence of wrongdoing or criminal activity and no missing funds. A 2025 study by the Texas Institute for Child and Family Well-Being shows 33% of young people who are in foster care end up experiencing some kind of homelessness. The city and other agencies announced a proposal to stop the cycle. Jessica Chaub breaks down the plan to help get them there.
Imagine being a kid. And instead of being excited to go off to college, you're worried about where you're going to sleep every night.
That same young person is now sleeping on a friend's couch, in their car, and before long, they have nowhere to go. And that young person was me.
That's what happened to Courtney Jones when she aged out of the foster care system at 18 after spending 10 years in it.
I was sleeping in my car, bathing at a Waffle House, scared that I would have to go to jail for being somewhere I'm not supposed to be.
And many other youth share the same story.
We have nearly 1,200 young people that are waiting for housing.
Over half of them were in foster care at some point. And without a safety net,
it's because the foster care system fails them in preparing them.
It's a slippery slope.
Over 68% of them had been arrested after leaving the foster care system.
So the city of Austin, along with county and state organizations, want to catch them in just 10 steps.
We are committing to make together to make sure we are bringing every possible federal dollar into our region to amp up our efforts to prevent youth homelessness before it occurs.
Essentially, leaders say that the 10 steps to dismantling the foster care to homelessness pipeline starts with drawing all federal resources here, creating a youth-friendly system so that we don't lose anyone along the way, working with state legislators to encourage new laws to support this, and then sustaining it all for years to come. Daniel Heimpel with HR&A Advisors helped create the 10-step plan. He says there's a lot of federal money waiting to be used for this.
Austin is primed to use its housing stock that's already built to make sure that no foster kid ever experiences homelessness.
To help people going through what Jones did, She's now the CEO of Change One, an organization that helps foster kids like she once was.
I didn't imagine being who I am today. I just want kids to know that, like, you're not your circumstance. You're much more than your circumstance.
Building a foundation. In Austin, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
Honor Flight Austin recognizes Central Texas veterans for their service with special trips to Washington, D.C. We're introducing you to a Vietnam War veteran who spent time fighting in one of the deadliest battles of the conflict. Here's Bob Buckaloo.
This is me right here, eating Thanksgiving dinner.
A picture of Steve Valdez during a moment of rest on Hill 875 at Doc To, Vietnam during the war. The hill was the site of some of the fiercest and bloodiest battles between U.S. and North Vietnamese forces in the late 1960s. As a helicopter pilot delivered turkey dinners for the men, Steve says this Thanksgiving was not worth celebrating.
I think the hardest part was I had loaded 3 body bags with soldiers in it. So when they brought the food in, you're sitting there, everybody's sitting there and saying nothing. Because there's nothing to really say. It's just the sorrow that you're feeling and the sympathy for the guys that are in those bags.
Steve grew up in Minnesota and joined the Army during some of the worst fighting of the war. He would go on to have a long and distinguished career in the military, serving as an Army Ranger and as a member of U.S. Special Forces. But it was his early experiences as a young Army man 8,000 miles from home in the jungles of Vietnam that was on his mind during a recent trip to Washington, D.C. to view the monuments and memorials that honor our military veterans, thanks to Honor Flight Austin. At the Vietnam War Memorial, where the names of 58,000 Americans who died in the war are inscribed, Steve found the name of a good friend who fought alongside him on Hill 875. His friend died in that battle.
When I look at them, they're the heroes. They're the ones I look up to because they didn't come back, but they were heroes. Being a young man, like I was, I grew up without knowing it. I left my childhood and my teenagehood and whatever it was left there in Vietnam.
In the hills and jungles of Vietnam, our soldiers learned lessons written in fear, in courage, and in loss. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
And we salute them. Those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins.